What is the appropriate amount of time to wait until you can show your new significant other your Bionicle collection?
Right away. If she can't handle the smoke, she needs to stay out of the kitchen. When my wife and I first got together, I had a decent-sized Transformers collection. I got around it by putting them all in vehicle mode before she came over. She thought I collected model cars and had bought me this expensive airbrush thing for Christmas. I admitted they were robots in disguise just before Christmas, and she was more mad she had to return the useless to me airbrush set. She didn't care about my collection at all, and now I even have a room in our house just for it.
The way my fiancé did it was kind of like a slow boil. Gradually introduced me to how weird he is over an extended amount of time. If he hit me with it all at once, I would have gone into shock for sure.
First date type beat.
If they're true, then they've shown you theirs already.
Literally the second you meet them. If they are your significant other, then you waited too long. Edit, I'm a dumb bitch and use then instead of then.
Never. Don't touch my Bionicles.
I actually built a Bionicle with a girl. We've been together for 4 years now. Tinder profile picture. Immediately. In fact, wanna see my Bionicle collection? Might be the perfect pickup line. She might come just hearing the words.
That's definitely a panty dropper for me. Once I hear that, I'm extremely turned on. After you get them addicted to mecha anime.
Depends on how big the collection is. If you have like 2 of the newest wave, then hide it forever. Such shame should not leave one's own mind. On the other hand, if you have every single one, then you should legally change your name to Bionicle Collection, get tattoos, Tinder profile pic, all the works.
I would say not immediately. If you show her them too early, you'll spend the rest of the relationship wondering if she actually likes you or just stays with you for the Bionicle.
Gotta rip that band-aid off early. If she sees the freak in you and doesn't look away, you might have a winner.
True story, after the first date went well, new girl and I decided that after both getting out of bad relationships based on hidden information, we were both just gonna air all our dirty laundry at once. Afterwards, when we decided we were going to go on a second date, she added, "And just so you know, having a Lego collection isn't dirty laundry. I saw them in the background of your dating site profile picture and I thought it was cute. First anniversary was yesterday. _carrot.
Immediately.
If they don't want to, then they're not a keeper.
Another asinine post.
Day 1, if they don't like it, then you need to find someone who does.
ASAP, there's a reason I have a GF and trust me, it ain't my looks.
I showed off my Elmo and Care Bear collection the first time he spent the night. Been together for 1 year and 8 months, engaged for 6 months, and just called a reception venue this morning.
Wait until after you sleep with her, then at least you're not a virgin anymore.
Marriage. This is the only reason people get married.
I laughed a little too hard at this question.
You jest, but there is definitely a full storage bin in my parents' basement. So just before they meet my parents.
So, I'm just going to take this one seriously. I do not have a Bionicle collection. I have a Warhammer collection that I have all created myself. That's a solid date 2/3 thing. I never talk about it on the first date.
Jesus Christ, I am so tired of these types of questions on this fucking sub.
Never, you need to hide them so they don't find them and steal them.
I'm a huge Marvel nerd. I have hundreds of comics that I've read, own all the movies, buy a ton of the Legos, and shit, I even sleep on Marvel bedsheets. It helped that my ex was also pretty nerdy, she just didn't show it quite as much. I admitted to being a nerd right away, but it took a couple weeks before I told her about all my stuff. She kinda laughed it off, and about a week later we were making out on those same bedsheets. For the right girl, guy, they'll accept you for it. Just don't bring it up out of nowhere. When she joins me in my race car bed.
This right here, now we're asking the right questions.
It should be part of the honeymoon. Fight Matoro with Paraka on her titties.
When it feels right and she says, I thought you'd never ask, you'll know your timing was perfect.
NGL, my boyfriend showed me all of his custom Bionicles after like 2 months because I found them in a box. He showed me the purpose of each piece and the cool story behind them. It was then I realized how much of a dork I was dating, but 4 years later we build them together occasionally.
If she doesn't like it, say, what's a mata, I thought you knew.
No time at all. You always want to reel them in at the start, winking face.
Brew, can I be your soul so?
Depends on the size of your collection and the size of her own collections.
I initially read this as Barnacle Collection and thought, I guess when she sees you naked?
You need to wait at least a year. Make sure they're with you for you and not the Bionicle collection.
Immediately.
If she doesn't immediately get wet when she sees it, she ain't the one. Third date. You can use the collection as a lure her into your bedroom. Hey babe, want to see my Bionicle collection? I don't know how a woman could say no to that offer.
It's all about easing it out. Like everyone else says, it's best to be transparent with who you are early on, otherwise you're just potentially wasting everyone's time. But there's also a difference in deliberating, revealing yourself, your personality, and your interests in a timely manner as opposed to just blasting someone with all your weirdness all at once. If a girl on a first date told me she's super fucking obsessed with Justin Bieber, then her most distinct characteristic becomes Justin Bieber obsessed girl. But if she was chill and funny on the first date, then played a few Bieber songs on our second date while also showing me her other music tastes, and then by like the 6th time we meet she wears a Bieber shirt and Bieber hat, then I can see that she's more than just an obsessed Bieber fan, and that she's also cool and funny and has an awesome music taste outside of her kinda weird Bieber obsession, which is chill, barring some super ultra crazy obsessed shit, obviously.
Everyone collects dumb shit. I collect all kinds of dumb shit. My wife collects different dumb shit. You shouldn't be with somebody who can't accept that. Unless you have a problem and are spending money on collectibles before food, shelter or something. You collect Bionicles, so what? Don't you want a girl who would accept that? I'm sure they would collect something. Maybe it won't be your cup of tea, maybe it'll be shoes, or books, or who knows what that you may think is lame. You allowed to think each other's hobbies are lame as long as you accept it.
This thread is useless without pictures of your Bionicle collection.
Kinda related, I have my Warhammer models on a shelf near my bed, so any girl I brought home was welcomed by my Imperial Knight, various jets, and tons of little dudes providing Overwatch for our 20 seconds. No one walked in, laughed, then walked out, so I'd say show your Bionicles day one. Edit, should also mention my current GF thought they were cool and I've got her to play a game with me using them twice, so it works out long term too.
To be honest, I've been with my wife nearly 17 years and have yet to show her my Bionicle collection. The way I see it is, showing your Lego Bionicle collection is the biggest milestone there is, bigger than marriage, bigger than your first child, bigger than moving in together. My initial idea was to leave them to our firstborn daughter, Takanova, but I scratched that idea when I realized she'd never understand the importance they hold, sentimentally. Not only that, but what if my marriage or relationship would have failed? What if my wife would have tried to take them as a settlement? It's too risky. So to answer your question, I definitely don't think 17 years is long enough.
Showing off your Bionicle collection should be part of the courting process.
I think it depends on if Bionicle collection is the nickname of your penis.
You, DevCat1023, how long did I wait?
Sort of related, but I like to share. On our second date, I asked him what his hobbies were. He says playing cards with the guys, real casual like. I stared him dead on and go, what kind of cards? He starts laughing, makes a very busted face, and admits that he plays Magic MTG. I couldn't believe he was trying to pass his hobby off as a more normal poker with the boys kind of deal. So dumb and annoying, just like, really? A couple years later, we ended up making little gift boxes out of excess land cards as part of our wedding favors. Smiley face.
Jokes aside, if you do in fact have one, she's gonna see it when she's at your place for the first time, right?
My friend has an insane Power Rangers collection and he tells me, I just tell girls about it right off the bat. No point in hiding that part of me. It weeds out a lot of people and he gets right to the ones that are worth his time. Edit, he actually posted it to our male living space recently. IDK if I'm allowed to link it, but it should still be top of this week on that sub. It's a nerdy collection, but he's a super charismatic, physically fit guy, so you'd never expect it. Makes it so much funnier when he tells Tinder dates about it.
IDK, but it reminds me of when my cousin showed his GF his train set in the basement and she said, if I had known about this when you asked me out I probably would have said no.
Line them up in your room the night you will finally have sex together, so they can watch. It's the only correct way.
I'm not sure if you're looking for a serious answer or not, but I usually wait around a month or so to sort of ease them into the idea that I'm still into Lego at my age, not only Bionicle but a lot of system stuff as well. I've found that if you slowly let your love for Lego seep through before outright telling them you like Lego, or specifically Bionicle, and then later, maybe a week or two after you've told them you like it before asking them if they're perhaps interested in seeing your collection. It does of course depend on the kind of person it is and perhaps also their reaction to you telling them you like Bionicle. I've been lucky enough to date a few girls who actually loved Lego themselves still as well, but I imagine not everyone is like that, sadly. Hope the answer helps, smiley face.
Immediately after you impregnate her.
The fact that a post about Bionicle made it on the front page makes me happy.
I read so many of these answers thinking we were talking about eyeglasses. _
5 minutes after the first time they come to your house is probably the latest. Unless you're willing to trash your hobbies for and so just tell them up front. Save a lot of time and trouble. I was upfront about my video game hobby and now I've got a wife that brought more consoles into the house than me.
So I had a cross-section view of the Starship Enterprise hanging above my bed as a bachelor. I figured I might as well weed out the non-nerds. One saw it and said, oh, the Enterprise D, we're still married 25 years later. Easy. On the first date. If they aren't impressed by your Bionicle collection, they're not worth the time anyways.
I will take this question seriously as well. I guess it should be within the 3rd to 5th date. Telling them your collections and your hobbies should be the topics you need to discuss with them. I'm 36 and an AFOL. Got a GF of 12 years and we had a 7-year-old daughter.
Show them Coparca Marta first and get rid of Coparca Nuva.
Get on your knee during dinner in a crowded restaurant and pull out a Bionicle.
No waiting. Just go to them and say, I miss Matoro. You'll know if you need to show them the collection.
Immediately so you can see if he or she is a keeper.
It has to be a priority. If she don't play Bionicle, she don't get the Donjicle.
At your wedding, use them as the groomsmen, bridesmaids.
Consider subscribing.